Alright, so let's fire this bad boy up. This is 0K. This is a real-time strategy game. I don't know the actual name of the developers or the people who work on this, but they've been working on this game for quite a long time. And it's really refined as a strategy game. I think so. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to skip the pregame chatter, because this is actually a replay of a game that I played against someone by the name of Archer12345. I believe that's what his name is. If you look over on the right side where you see the percentage and the pause, you can see our names down at the bottom. So I'm ZerusPrime. So technically we're both pretty even as far as skill level goes within the game. And this is me. So I'm starting off with the Cloakbot Factory. The Cloakbot Factory is quite possibly one of the, it's actually the cheapest out of all of the factories to use. So what I'm going to do during this game is I'm going to keep an eye on both my moves and Archer's moves, because Archer, for a beginner, for a one-striper, is actually not a very bad player. He does implement a pretty decent strategy in this game that I'm going to highlight here in the future. This game was about 40 minutes long. I'm going to give a disclaimer. He did quit towards the end of the game when I had the advantage. So there's a difference between you resigning and quitting. If you quit, it's going to negatively impact your rank. So you can see I've got the Cloakbot Factory going now. As the game goes on, I'm going to highlight certain units and certain things that not only I was building, but what Archer was building as well, to be able to point it out for you. So if you want to get into this game, you'll be able to. So I'm actually monitoring Archer here. Archer's commander seems to be doing very little building in this early phase of the game. This is called the early game. So in the early game, if any of you are familiar with the game Total Annihilation, as you can see, there is metal. There's a metal logo up at the top, and there's a lightning bolt. That's your metal and your energy. That's your income in the game. So both of those need to be somewhat replenished throughout the game. If they're not, then your construction is going to slow. So your building's going to be crap. So Archer, what I was saying is one of the strategies that he's using so far is he's using multiple constructors from the original factory that he started off with. That is probably one of the best moves that you could do in this game, because the commander, which is the guy that's highlighted right now for Archer's team, is doing very little building, and that's good because his build power, as you can see, Archer's resources are rapidly going down. Now the rule of thumb in this game is that you want to have more metal than you want to have more energy than you do metal, because there are certain things that require only energy and there are certain things that require only metal. Since I'm using the Cloakbots, as you can see, my constructors, when they're constructing, they do not cloak themselves, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to see the cloaking. But the cloaking takes up a certain amount of energy, as highlighted by whatever ability that cloaker has. Now right now I'm building a fusion reactor because I'm trying to raise my energy up. You can see it's plus 20, but minus 32, which means that it's technically minus 12. As you can see, it's rapidly going down. My metal income seems to be a little bit more steady. And as you can see, my commander is a engineer commander, which is a commander usually built for building in this game. We're still in the early game here. It's still very, very early in this game, so there's not going to be a lot of action. And I've highlighted the strike commander that Archer is using. That commander is more well balanced, and it's able to attack and defend itself, as you will be able to see coming up as the battles come on. We've got like another 37 minutes left in this battle. So the early game is basically you building up forces to defend your base with. That's usually my strategy. I do not rely on too many static defenses, because as you will see coming up in the later game, not only will I, but Archer will also be able to build, he'll be able to build more units that will be able to outrange laser towers, even if they're not just the light ones like you see right there. Now it looks like my conjurers, which are my constructors for my cloakbot factory, they're building the level 2 defenses. But you will see that even in the mid game and in the later game, these static defenses are outclassed. In this game 0K, you absolutely have to have units that have range, because the Lotus, that light laser tower, is not going to be able to kill units further off. Now we're getting into a little bit of battle here. Now, the problem with Archer's strategy, I mean, it's a good strategy to build good, cheap units to have the numbers, but in 0K, in this game, as you can see with my forces here, you have to be more well-rounded. So my Reavers outclass his Outlaws. I could have 5 of them and still like mow through a couple of his. Now he won there because he has the numbers, but going later into the game, those Outlaws are not going to be effective against much of anything, and that is mostly the reason why this battle did end the way that it ended. So now I'm building my second factory, and that is the hovercraft platform. At this point in the game, with about almost 10 minutes, you should be building a second factory by now. Now the reason why Archer's not doing that is because he has a shield bot factory, which the shield bot factory can get a little pricey depending on the types of units that you buy, but he does have the 4 caretakers there. So no matter what, he's going to be building his units somewhat faster than me. And as you can see, his commander is picking up the wreckage. That's also something that you want to keep an eye on in this game when you play this game, is the reclaim. In every battle that you have in this game, these are robot-based characters in this game. No matter what, depending on the weapons that they're shot with, if they're shot with basic weapons like these, they're going to leave wreckage. So you want to stay close to the wreckage claim area. Alright, now it seems like I'm building up another force here. So I'm going to give you a much better example of what I mean by using units with range. Now see, what he does well here is he has the anti-swarm units. But see what you can see here, my units outrange his. So what he's doing right now is he's fighting with his commander, which is not a good idea. And his commander actually got destroyed 10 minutes in the game because of the Ronins here. If you read the description there, the Ronins are they're low damage, but they have range. And as you can see in the back too, I'm using light artillery bots as well. So they're outranging his anti-swarm defenses that he had here. Now the advantage that he does have here is that he has more raider and skirmisher units. So that's what I mean when I say that you should have units that are well-rounded. So you need units with range and you need units with power. Now here's another factory here that is more interesting. This is the game ender factory here. So I know you're surprised I said that this game lasted about 40 something minutes, but hear me out. If you look at my resources, my metal is kind of lacking. If your metal is lacking, your Strider hub is going to be basically useless. But we're going to take a more in-depth look at the Strider hub when it comes time for me to actually build something from it. Because once you build something from it, then that's when you get to see what exactly the Strider hub can do. But the Strider hub is a game ender. So right now I have a hovercraft platform and I have a cloakbot platform. Now it seems like Archer here is sticking with the shield bots. And it's like I said, the shield bots are quite cheap. As you've seen throughout this game, I am going to highlight certain units as the game goes on. So if you see me click on a unit and there's a description that pops down in that lower area where you're seeing the health and all of that, read it while you get the chance. Now I'm maneuvering another attack, and this time I'm doing it with the hovercraft, which is not effective. Light hovercraft are not effective against any unit in this game. Now I'm rolling up with only one of the units I wanted to highlight, and that's the Scalpel. The Scalpel will destroy these outlaws in one shot. See, the Reavers are more built to go up against the outlaws, but if they're outnumbered, they're still going to get killed by whatever units he has. It seems like he's starting to mix it up a little bit more here, and it's very, very important in this game that you mix it up, no matter what. And there, you can see my two constructors. You see they're like glowing red. That means that they're cloaked. That means that on the radar that you see on the right side below the player names, on radar you will not be able to see them. This Phantom here that I just clicked on, read the description there. This one is also a cloaked unit. But it needs to be defended very, very well, because throughout the updates and things that they've done with this game, the Phantom has been changed drastically. And it looked like I was building something with the Strider hub, but we'll come back to that. Yeah, we will definitely come back to that. Looks like Archer is about to lead an attack. But yeah. And those rockets do splash damage. Now here's why static defenses are bad. Because if you just rush the static defenses, yeah, you can get them. See? And he's using close range units to defeat a level 2 laser tower, which is smart. Now he's on the run because he's been outclassed by range. So he doesn't want to lose all of his units. He wants to save some. And there we go. The Strider Hub is currently building something. And if you look when it builds things, it shows you the ETA. So that's how much. It looks like another battle's going on. See, they came back to attack. But they're going to get beat again because they're going up against the Scalpels. But the problem with Archer's strategy, basically, is on these side-to-side maps, you absolutely have to expand your territory. If you don't expand your territory, your units are going to become easy targets because all of your units are going to be in the same place, and it's going to make for an easy attack. And as you can see, there's a lot of wreckage here. So this will probably turn the tide of the game for any player if you can build caretakers in the battlefield. Now, this is not ideal. I do not see a lot of 0K players doing this. I do it because it's easier to repair certain units because the caretakers pretty much act on their own. So the caretakers will either repair, reclaim, or help build something if it's near, if it's within the range. Caretakers have a certain range that they can build in, but they cannot start construction projects. Now here's the Scorpion. This Strider it's not really known as a game ender for most players, but for a player like me that's kind of in the mid-range game, the Scorpion is very, very good. It's another cloaked unit. The thing is that it kind of can't defend itself against swarms. So with the Scorpion, you have to use the element of surprise. You see, now I'm starting to expand, but you can see my Conjurers are cloaked. And that's what makes the Conjurer one of the better constructors in the game, because you can build in a somewhat stealthy manner if you want to. Now, while they're building, they can be seen. But when they're moving like this and they cloak themselves, they can't be seen. Now, I do want to later in this game point out why I thought that Archer's strategy was good, but flawed against someone who's played more online games. Now, I'm going for another raid again. This is what you want to do in 0K. You want to constantly be attacking your opponent. Okay, now he's not at the later game phase here, but he is doing pretty good at defending his base. And he does have lots of constructors, which is fine. But keep in mind, his commander is gone. And the commander is like your quintessential unit in this game. But it's not as nerfed as it was in the old Total Annihilation. Okay, now a lot of my close range units are gone. A lot of his defenses are gone. So now what he has to do is he has to start sending in units that can shoot at me from a closer range, and that seems to be what he's doing. You can see he's coming to try and attack, but the level 2 towers will do good against these lower level shield bots in this game. I see it looks like I'm about to go for another raid. As I don't remember, yeah, I did. I don't know why I did it with this one, because the daggers, those are scouts. The boluses that I was attacking with, those are just units that slow down other units. I'm bringing in more raiders. We'll see what happens here. Now it looks like here at this point, Archer did start to advance his base a little bit, and that's when I start moving up. So here's a Cloakbot factory. Now here is where his strategy did well. What he did here is he built a ton of shielded construction bots, and the shielded construction bots, if they're put together in one group, it doesn't form necessarily one big shield, but it does form a shield capable of keeping those construction bots safe, which is the reason why he does get over a little bit. Now, as you can see, he's got his artillery bots shooting at my level 2 laser towers. And this is why you don't want to rely on static defenses, because at this point in the game, I would say about 15 minutes or beyond, depending on the type of player, those defenses will be outclassed. Now my Scorpion's ready. We're going to follow the Scorpion because I want you guys to see the Striders. If you're a beginner, a straight up beginner, I do not recommend building Striders. Your opponents may, but you'll be able to survive still. This guy was able to survive for a little bit of time after I built my first Strider. His first Strider attack didn't happen until about 20 minutes into the game. This is, yeah, about 20 minutes through. Now, the Strider can't be seen right now. So, as you can see, the Phantom and the Strider, they're two cloaked units. So, they cannot be seen by my opponent. Now, once I start shooting, yeah, once my Strider starts shooting, it can be seen. Now, right here in this position, it's not a game ender, because he can just bring up a bunch of skirmishers and raiders and surround it. See, he's got it surrounded, and all of my closer range units have already been killed. But this Scorpion can walk through a lot of damage. So, from what I remember, what I did do here was I went for just attacking his factory, and I stopped attacking his actual units. And you do want to do that in this game. If you can get a chance to come down and destroy a factory with one of your bigger forces or a Strider like that, definitely do it. Like I'm building up again. Now see, the good thing about using the Cloakbot factory first is once your economy starts to, now look, he's building up another shield bot factory. That is smart. That is what you're supposed to do. If someone does destroy one of your factories, you instantly want to build another one. They're expensive, and it takes a long time to build another one, but you want that other factory. You cannot lose production. Now what this guy is doing is what I think probably did help him survive coming towards the mid game, is look at all of that wreckage that I left there from my units. Yeah, that's a lot of wreckage. He could start building a lot more with that wreckage. I'm surprised that he's not reclaiming that wreckage right now. I've implemented the strategy over the last year or two to let the caretakers reclaim. And yes, he's doing it now. That's why his economy is jumping up right now. He's building and reclaiming at the same time, which is pretty smart. Now, here's another part of his strategy that I liked. What he did, he realized that a lot of my units are generally more powerful than the ones that he has. So he started building EMP turrets across the way. I'll highlight those when I come up to a tab. This is why I like I'm gonna do these videos after I've already played the game, so I can know what happened, so I won't, missay anything that happened or misquote anything that happened during the game. But Archer is still going pretty steady in this game, despite the fact that he's not building any heavier units. I'm really not either, but I'm mixing my units in with ranged units. Now see, here's where his EMP turrets are going to start to take effect here. Now you see my units, the ones that are flashing blue, those units are basically paralyzed. That's what the EMPs do. Yeah, the Faraday. So it will stop my units in their tracks, which pretty much makes, and what he's doing is he's covering up his forces from the line of fire with the constructor shield pods, which is a bad strategy now because I have a lot more powerful units up there. So now some of his constructor pods are starting to get destroyed now. But this is another battle where Archer kind of wins out with this strategy. Yeah, the strategy of the EMP turrets. The EMP turrets are good to use in this game, but they can be outclassed eventually. Now he's going to do a raid because he's seeing the weakness. Now look, here's another example why static defenses are not so great. Because when he's using these faster raider units, they can not only shoot at the same time, the close distance on these static defenses are getting carved up. So at this point in the game, the only static defenses that you want to have are long-range weapons. You do not want to have these laser towers. These laser towers are going to get carved up by anything that comes rolling up at this point in the game. As you can see, I'm building another Scorpion. I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a better example of how the Scorpion should be used. Because the first time I used the Scorpion, I just rolled straight up toward his base and just started attacking. You do not want to do that when you have a Scorpion, especially one that's not defended very well. If he would have just advanced his units just a little bit more beyond these weaker units, see what he's trying to do, well, what he is doing quite successfully is he's using his units to draw my units over to the EMP turrets so they can get hit and paralyzed. But I was able to retreat them on this one because it looked like he ran out of attacking units. bot factory and a shield bot factory, which is okay. And it looks like here he's building a rover assembly. So that is smarter. He does need some sort of vehicle. In these games, especially on the land levels like these, or even the mountainous levels, I think this one's mixed terrain. You want to have a vehicle type unit to fight with in this game. If you do not have mobile vehicle units, that's the hovercraft, which is my weapon of choice with vehicles, although they lack the power and the punch that most vehicles have. Now let's focus in on the Scorpion here. Now what you want to do with the Scorpion is, instead of going head on, I've already explored where his territory is, so I know where all of his territory is. You want to guide your Scorpion away from his main areas and defenses. So basically with the Scorpion is not a head-up strider. You want to use, it's a game ender, but it can only be a game ender if you have more than one, and if you're attacking from an area that he's not expecting it. To see, as I've been attacking for most of the way throughout this game, I've been attacking him head on because he's made it pretty simple to know where most of his stuff is. And that's bad when you don't want to jumble up your buildings and your resources and anything like that in this game, because those things can get eaten up pretty quickly. And you see there's a lot of reclaim, so I'm reclaiming. That's why you see my stuff constantly going up. Now let's watch this here. This is the Scorpion, and this Scorpion's by itself. It hasn't taken a lick of damage yet because it outranges. Now here he comes. Here he comes with his units. Now the reason why his units are not being outclassed here is because he has those light artillery units. So when you're attacking with the Scorpion and you're being swarmed like that, I did the same thing that I did in the last raid. It doesn't matter if his caretakers there are repairing it. The rate of fire on the Scorpion is too high to be stopped there. So he's only killing the Scorpion because of the slings that he has. And I try to run away with the Scorpion, but it's too little too late. He's got long-range artillery units. And now he's got those units shooting at the force that I've gathered up. Actually, what I'm doing right there is a big no-no too. You do not want to gather up your forces in one area like that. And this battle here is important. This battle pretty much turns the tide of the game. And we are mostly even when it comes to the types of units. The only difference between like I said, what Archer here is doing and what I'm doing is I'm mixing weaker units with more powerful units and units that will outrange as well. So now you can just do a sweeping motion with that. It looks like he never got that rover assembly up and running. If he would have got that rover assembly up and running and ready to attack me, the combination of that Shieldbot factory and the Cloakbot factory as well most likely would have overwhelmed me and possibly beat me. So for a beginning level player, Archer is doing pretty well. His strategy was just lacking as far as combat moves. And he's relying on the static defenses. Not only is he relying on the static defenses, he's relying on very weak static defenses, as 30 minutes into the game, that is a big no-no that I have not started building heavier hovercraft that you just saw there, I will highlight those heavier hovercraft because those are the ones that you want to run up into somebody's base and attack with. The ones that you see leading up the front, those are probably one of the fastest non-scout hovercraft. That is the Halberd. That's the blockade runner. Heavy armor, fast. It has a low rate of fire, but the fire is decent. Just watch. And the mace is like a mobile tower. So once the maces are in range, the maces are gonna carve up whatever it's coming up against. Yeah, you can see the maces are just blowing up all of his defenses. And here is a unit that outclasses. Yeah, see, it's already shooting. Yeah, the Lance is one of my favorite artillery units. So it's an anti-heavy artillery unit. So basically, any regular unit that he has coming and rolling up, like the Outlaw, if it's within range of the Lance, it's gonna die. But as you read in the description, you want that Lance to be very well defended. That's why I left it in the range of the EMP turrets. I actually stole this guy's strategy as the game went on, but I actually didn't end up needing it because, as you can see, if you look up to the percentage of the replay on the HUD, we're about 91% through the game. So he does not have the forces to attack and overrun this base. Not at this point. The static defenses, he might be able to run through the static defenses, but with what I have, and it looks like I'm already attacking. That's funny. And yeah, he quit. See, it was a normal quit. So when you normal quit, you do not gain any EXP from the game. So that's what I'm going to tell you as a 0K player. Do not quit. Only resign. If you resign, it'll be considered a loss and you will still get your EXP. Now, as you can see, I think there was an option up at the top that appears that I think that it's just recognizing that Arthur is no longer connected. So when people quit like that, it's usually because they have no shot at winning. And as you can see, he really does have no shot at winning. So I'm going to wrap this up pretty much. I'm going to do more gameplay videos like this, but I'm going to do more skirmishes and campaigns because I want to be able to show you more of the strategies that the computer uses, because the computer strategy can be beaten, but the human strategy can be beaten as well, even if it is still pretty strong. So yeah, I'm gonna just let the rest of this ride out. You can see I'm building the Lances and the more heavier units. And I actually did wait until the Scorpion was done, so I could bring the Scorpion through to lead on with the final attack of the game, because this game's over. All of his stuff's gone. And that's why he quit. I think the only thing that's left is that metal extractor down at the bottom. So in the multiplayer games, it pretty much goes until there's nothing left. If there's nothing left, that's when the game is over. That's another point where this game borrows from Total Annihilation. So you will see the end. My name on 0K is ZerusPrime. As you can see, it's the name in red. I'm the red team. My name on here is Future Producer 03, aspiring grower. But I like to play strategy games in my free time. This game's genre is a dying breed, but I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna post these videos on YouTube, and I'm gonna show you guys that these games are still pretty deep. So as my Scorpion is riding it out, he's gonna take you to the screen where the medals are awarded. And see, Arthur would have gotten some experience points off of those medals. He had 4 medals to my 2. And as you can see the mouse speed, the click rate, the key press rate, and the commands per minute. So I actually did more commands per minute than he did. Or no, he did more commands per minute. He pretty much swamped me in everything as far as playing the game. But again, I'm ZerusPrime on 0K. Future Producer 03. Like and subscribe. There will be more videos like this. Trust you me. And I'm out, y'all.